the creatures that dominated the prehistoric skies. Of all the ways to assert dominance, taking a dump in your opponent's windscreen has to be one of the most overt. Today, birds claim complete aerial dominance, stealing our chips and making a mockery of our monuments. Birds are jerks. But what if I told you they're not even the scariest things that have ruled the skies? Stick around, because we're going to time travel through millions of years of airborne monsters, from colossal condors to insect assassins the size of your face. And by the end, we'll reveal the most lethal aerial predator in Earth's entire history. And no, it's not what you think. 1. Contemporary and recently extinct birds. Let's not even go prehistoric yet. The largest birds of our time are ostriches, but given that they're flightless, they technically don't dominate the skies. It's the wandering albatross that holds the record for the largest flying bird, with a wingspan of over 3.7 meters and a weight of around 12 kilograms. It can glide for days across the ocean without flapping. The albatross is a mostly fish eater, but for a more violent example, we have the Andean condor, a 13-kilogram raptor with a 3.3-meter wingspan that mostly eats carrion, but will also attack live animals. But the real nightmare fuel? In New Zealand, the Haas eagle had a wingspan of a large modern bird, but weighed up to 18 kilograms, and would have taken on the extinct moa, an ostrich-like rat type that ran around the islands. This bird inspired Maori legends of man-eating monsters of the sky, and to some degree at least, the legends were likely true. After the settlers wiped out the main prey source of the eagle, there's no doubt a dwindling population of Haas eagles would have come into direct contact with humans too. Thankfully for us, this eagle went extinct as recently as the 1400s. But these are just appetizers. What if I told you a bird once existed that was heavier than a lion, and could fly? 2. Argentavis. By the late Miocene, apes had long branched off from monkeys in Africa, and towards the end of this epoch, around 9 million years ago, they had already become bipedal. But in the New World, in Argentina, flying birds were peaking, and the monstrous Argentavis was soaring around with a 7 to 8 meter wingspan and the record for the heaviest flying bird ever known. This bird weighed a whopping 70 kilograms, and was so large and heavy that it likely stood on top of cliffs, waiting to catch the updrift to carry it into the sky. It dominated the sky while its cousins, the terrestrial terror birds, roamed the land. And these were truly scary predators. The largest of them, Devensentia, may have weighed 350 kilograms. Damn, Devensentia! The truly colossal aerial beasts were waiting even further back, and they weren't birds at all. 3. Pterosaurs. Flight evolved at least 4 times in Earth's history, completely independently. Bats tried it 63 million years ago. In the birds, Jurassic newbies to flight. But pterosaurs were here first, starting at around 220 million years ago during the Triassic. And when I say they came in all sizes, I mean from pigeon-sized cuties with baby bat faces to airplanes with teeth. Let's meet a few of these flying freaks. Argentina has produced perhaps the most varied and exciting fossils of any country, and Pterodactyl is no exception to this. This large pterosaur had a wingspan of around 3 meters and lived around 100 million years ago in the early Cretaceous. But it wasn't its size that made it so unusual. This pterosaur had the reptilian equivalent to baleen in a large scoping beak. This was a cross between a pelican and a humpback whale, and would have scooped up large gulps of coastal waters, filtering out all the tasty crustaceans wriggling around within them. Its bizarre head would have made flight difficult, but it was certainly an aerial reptile. And let's not forget about Anurognathids, the tiny bat-like pterosaurs with big anime eyes and a nightbug diet. Probably adorable, possibly covered in proto-feathers, likely had a Tumblr following if we're alive today. But for the main event, we're heading to North America and Eastern Europe, where the skies literally darkened under winged monsters. Just before we do, if you're enjoying this video, subscribe so we can make you more, and click the like button and tell the algorithm you love prehistoric nerd stuff. Back to the terror birds. Imagine a giraffe, with wings. Now imagine it flies. That's Quetzalcoatlus. With a mass of up to 250 kilograms, this pterosaur had no business taking to the air, yet it did anyways. It had a wingspan greater than many light aircraft, up to 12 meters across. Quetzalcoatlus fossils are found in southern regions of North America, and this colossal flying reptile would have blocked out the sun in southern Laramidia during the late Cretaceous, but there was some perhaps even bigger animal doing it in Romania. A member of the same Quetzalcoatlinae subfamily, Hatzegopterus could potentially have had an even longer wingspan than Quetzalcoatlus, and with a skull alone of over 2.5 meters in length, carried one of the largest heads of any non-marine animal. And it didn't just fly, it hunted dinosaurs. Island dwarfism meant that dinosaurs were smaller, but that just made it easier for Hatzegopterus to treat them like tapas. Together, these pterosaurs dominated Earth's final pre-apocalyptic skies. And if we found two of this massive, there were probably dozens more we haven't unearthed yet. 4. The Bug Wars. You thought 220 million years ago was old? Let's go back over 300 million years to the Carboniferous, one of the Earth's most transformative periods, and marked the beginning of complex life on land. Forests were made of ferns and oxygen levels were off the charts. This was a deeply alien world. The Carboniferous was home to millipedes larger than people, scorpions larger than cats, and cockroaches the size of, well, slightly larger cockroaches. Out of these three lineages, it was the insects that took to the sky, and they did so around 325 million years ago, according to fossil evidence. And molecular evidence pushes that date well back over 400 million years, though this is contested. Paleodictyoptera is one of the earliest orders of flying animals, perhaps even the first. These insects, unlike the insects of today, had a third pair of wings, making them very peculiar already. They were big too, with some members growing to wingspans of 50 centimeters. They had heavy jaws, likely used for cutting into plants, and would have buzzed around the Carboniferous forest with no concern for birds, bats, or any of the modern-day insect predators. Until the real apex predator showed up. Meganeura. Now, because you followed us through all of this, we're going to make good on our promise and let you in on a little secret. Over 300 million years in the making. Birds may think they're all that, but looking at the stats, they've got nothing on this aerial predator. Let's start with a little context. In the Carboniferous and beyond, Meganeura was king. What, a dragonfly? Not quite. This thing had a wingspan of up to 75 centimeters, and we think its jaws were powerful enough to sever a human finger from the hand. This was an insect so big and powerful that its diet would have comprised of anything it wanted, including vertebrates like amphibians. While vertebrates would eventually get a foothold on the land, dragonflies never left. And of all the monsters to have a go at aerial dominance, they are therefore the most enduring. Not only have they been doing it for over 325 million years, they're the animals with the highest kill rate of anything on the planet. Let's put that into perspective. Tigers only have a success rate of around 5% of predation attempts. Wolves blow this out of the water with 14%, and the peregrine falcon knocks them out of the park with a whopping 47%. Great whites inch them out at 48%, and the black-footed cat is the most successful feline with a rate of 60%. African wild dogs are the most successful mammals, able to kill and eat around 80% of the time. Dragonflies? 95 freaking percent. That means the true king of the skies wasn't a bird or a dinosaur. It was a bug. Some final thoughts. We tend to think of flying animals as majestic, graceful, poetic, but if the skies could talk, they'd probably scream. And in the end, the crown for the most dominant aerial predator doesn't go to the biggest or loudest, but to the most resilient ancient assassin that's been killing in the air at 95% efficiency since before vertebrates had even conquered the land. So next time you curse at bird poop on your windshield, just be glad Meganeura isn't still around, because that would leave a dent. If this video gave you new reasons to fear both sky and bug, please drop a like, and subscribe if you don't want to miss what's coming next. Until next time, don't park under trees, and close your mouth when you look up. Stay curious, fossil files.